It is tea or coffee, and you're in the right place. High Impact Television. Well, I think I forgot to mention, I'm actually having tea today, so I don't know what you're having.
I'm having coffee.
Oh, nice, interesting. So it is the Wellness Wednesday edition. Before we went on the break, we were telling you that we will be having very interesting topics today, and we have two sessions. So we're taking the first segment, and today we have a pharmacist in the house. The topic of discussion is identifying fake drugs. Now, that is one very important topic we have to talk about, knowing fully well that lives are attached to it. In the studio with us today, we have pharmacist Mayowa Ademola. Good morning.
Good morning. And he said we should refer to him as an amiable pharmacist.
Amiable pharmacist.
That's something.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So straight to the discussion. Now, fake drugs, identifying fake drugs. How actually do you classify a drug as fake?
Well, by the definition of the World Health Organization, fake drug is any drug products that is not what is proclaimed to be. It's also defined as a product that is formulated or prepared or made to appear than the way it is in reality. It also encapsulates the third one, which has to do with fraudulently and deliberately mislabeling a product as to its identity, its content, and also the source. Of course, you could also talk about packaging. So it's a whole lot of things that has to do with counterfeiting a drug or making it fake. And sadly, it's a menace in the global.
I think that third one is the one that we're all very comfortable or that we refer to as fake drug once you see that something is not labeled what it should be.
Which is
very true.
And there are different manufacturers of the same products, I would say. And that's when we say, when we're familiar with just one, we term the other as being fake. But is that actually right? Are people licensed to actually make the same type of drug but just different manufacturers?
Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. There is something we call generic drug. And generic drug refers to the innovator brand. For example, if I come up with a medicine, a drug, and I'm able to have a breakthrough, a new product, that is the generic. So after some times, when the patent expires, others can also copy my innovation and do it. But the main problem we have these days is when a particular product, either generic or branded, it's produced, and there are imitators who do that, and they flock the market with it. You know, that's a big problem. Because the possible produce the drug cannot even differentiate, or the general public consuming this particular drug cannot differentiate which one is the fake and which one is the original. Because
I was about to ask how you can identify a fake drug. How? I'm sure there's a way you can see. I know for some it's either the name, there's something wrong with the name.
The spelling.
Or the spelling, yes. So how can you identify?
Yeah, you're right. You know, like I said, this is a global problem. And it's been addressed globally too. There are at least 5 main ways you can identify fake drug. And I'm going to try to mention them and, of course, also discuss them.
All right.
You see, there was one experience I had early this year, precisely January. We saw a product, me and my colleague, and we saw the manufacturing date to be April 2019.
In January?
In January.
They are living in the future.
Manufacturing date April 2019, and it's expiring 2023. Regardless of the intention of the person who produced that drug, it's fake. It's fake. So the very first thing that World Health Organization also encourages us to do is what we call the visual inspection. In fact, that's the best thing you and I can do. Although there are laboratory banned ways of checking, but of course you won't take your tab to the lab. So the very first thing you need to do is the visual inspection. And that has to do with you checking the packaging as well as checking the contents. So when you want to identify fake, there are basic things you seal in the packaging, like the one I mentioned to you. The date of production is post-dated as against when it's supposed to be. So first, you need to check the packaging. if you have a knowledge of how the package should be, is it any way different from what you used to know?
No.
2, check the batch number,
Okay.
the expiry number, and the manufacture date. If you get those details, of course, you could be able to say, is it really what it is or not? The third, like you mentioned, is to check the font.
The font.
The font size, the printing, the mistake in the writing, misspelled word, and the rest. They give you insights if this thing is actually fake. And there is one that is very important for you to do.
Okay.
When you pick a drug, it has a primary package and a secondary package.
Okay.
Take
What's that?
bottle, for example. You buy a cough syrup.
Okay.
The bottle is the primary package.
Okay.
And the pack, the carton,
yes,
is the
Okay.
secondary package. So if you check the primary package, which is the bottle, what about the batch number, the expiry date, the manufacturing date? Does it tally with what you have in the carton?
Yes, secondary package.
That's one.
Okay.
2 is for you to also identify where the drug is coming from. Of course, if I make a drug in Nigeria, I won't just say Victoria Island, Lagos. I have, and there is need for traceable address.
Okay.
So on the pack too, either on the secondary pack, on the primary pack, there will be the address of the manufacturer, number 24, this country. Check if it's the same thing that you also see there. And the legibility of the things written on the pack and the primary package can also point your attention to the authenticity of a particular drug. And that's about the packaging. Of course, I would like to also talk about the content.
Before you talk about the content, I actually have a question on the primary packaging.
Okay.
There are some drugs that I've seen before now that, taking the cough syrup, for example, on the bottle, you still have the label that goes around it. They don't really have the dates, the expiry dates. Some will tell you check the cap. Some will tell you check the carton or something like that.
Yes.
So does that necessarily mean they're fake, or that's just how they're packaged?
No. It doesn't mean. But ideally, by standard of packaging, the contents of what is on the external packaging, the secondary packaging, the basic information there should also be on the primary package. So you should have the active ingredient, the constituent, on the secondary package and on the primary package. And you should also have something like date also written there. For most that I've seen, they have, but if a manufacturer decides not to put it there, I mean, it's raised suspicion.
Yes, and I also want to add, because I got, not like a drug, but I got something, and there is, they put this, like you scratch it, you know, and they tell you to call the number or text the number to be sure if it's authentic.
Yeah.
Of
course, severally. I think that was its time.
I think that's what they are doing now to ensure that fake drugs stop circulating.
You're very right with that. That is called MAS.
Yes.
Mobile Authentication Service.
Okay. That's another way of identifying.
That's another way.
Okay,
like I told you, it's a global problem.
Okay.
And this is a problem affecting majorly developing countries. Asia being the very first. The report released last year says about 40% of drug you have in Asia and some developing African country are fake.
Wow.
So in an effort to reduce that, this innovation comes in, this cutting-edge technology of, okay, when you buy a drug, what if you have a way to authenticate the drug? Then we have Ghost Key, we have PharmaSecure, we have GQB. These are ways, they are firms that has partnered with a manufacturing firm to authenticate the drug. So when you buy a drug, check out for those things. You scratch and you send to a particular number. If it is authentic, you get it immediately, a response immediately. That's another way. You know, I told you there are 5. So you were prompting to mention the second.
Yes. All right, please go ahead.
So the very first, the very third part that you can actually use is the price. You know, my friend in Warri will tell you that awoof, the poch belle, the rum belle, yes. So if you go to a pharmacy and you actually price a drug, and you know the price of this drug is like 3,000 naira, you know, and you get it somewhere else for 1,005. That should be a pointer to you that, oh, this is likely fake. Although that may not necessarily be, because those who go ahead to do imitation fake, they spend a lot of money.
At the same price.
They want to sell it at the same price.
Yes.
So that also happened. And that's the reason why you need to rely on the ones we've mentioned earlier to just check. Okay, is it really this or not? And the fourth one is the source. It's so painful, I mean, to me, when I see people hawking drugs.
That's...
You know, it's so bad. On my way here, I still saw some vendors. I saw them. Wow. They have drugs when it is not provision. And this is because of the proliferative nature of the community where we are in developing world. So if your source is not right, you run a chance of buying fake drugs. Okay. Where should you buy a drug? Buy it in a pharmacy. Don't just buy it in any pharmacy. Buy it in a pharmacy where they have a pharmacist on ground.
Because I was about to say we have pharmacies and we have pharmacies.
Yes, very true. Yes. Very true. You know, the way the country is structured, we have people who go into business of trading drugs.
Call them chemists.
Yes, chemists. Yes. And some even call themselves pharmacies. You know, what you just have to do is to employ the service of a pharmacist. But this pharmacist is not on ground. You know, you just register and you go. We call it R&G. It is not permitted. The regulatory body is doing everything they can to make sure that, oh, you have a pharmacist on ground. And it is the responsibility of that pharmacist to also make sure that you source your drugs at the right place.
Yes.
Yeah. So you get your sourcing right. Be careful of the price. The one we call mass mobile authentication service, and of course the physical inspection. And the fifth one is matter relating to unexpected side effects. You know, you buy a drug for malaria treatment, and you are having allergic reaction. You're having a whole lot of itching or some swelling in the part of the body. Then you know that that drug is not doing what it's purported to be doing. You know.
Is there no case that it is just possible that something is triggering? What if it's unique to your body system?
Yeah, it will be stated in the leaflet of the drug. All drugs, at least we have a leaflet. And the leaflet will tell you what to expect. That's why the leaflets are there. When you see this reaction, oh, this is part of the side effect of this particular drug. But for most fake drugs, it will not even be contained. That is the reason why we call it unexpected side effects. Exactly. You know, let me also tell you something about fake drugs.
Okay, before you go into that, we are streaming live on Facebook, and of course the phone line is open for you to call in and join in on the conversation. The number is +234 7051 432258. Yes, and it's beautifully displayed
on your screen.
Of course. And yes, I said earlier that we are streaming live on Facebook, and you should drop your comments and your questions, and we'll take them as soon as we get them. Yes, so you want to tell me something about fake drugs.
Okay. Now, it's a menace, I must say, and it's an institution also. You know, the report also said that in a year, fake drugs invest more than $2 billion.
What?
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
That is a lot of money.
That's
just to kill people.
Of money.
I'm telling you.
So my question is, if you have the kind of resources at your disposal, why don't you do the right thing?
The right thing.
But they don't do it. You know why? Because this is it's an amalgamation of many factors. One, the manufacturer and the so-called businessman. I am a pharmacist. I'm interested in bringing in a drug. Or even if I'm not a pharmacist, I just want to bring in a drug. Then I go to these countries where these products are being made, and I told them, oh, I want paracetamol. And paracetamol should come with 500 milligrams.
Yeah.
And I tell them, what would be the cost implication if you reduce the active ingredient to 20 or 200 milligrams?
No.
You see that? I say, okay, Okay, you can do it. And you do it, and you label it 500 milligram. You know, that's what we're saying about the definition, mislabeling.
Yes, yes.
So you label it 200 milligram, and by the time the person takes the drug, it's not getting the expected effects.
You know, okay, let me interrupt you at this point. Now that we're talking about identification, because the essence is for people to be able to get aware of this. Who can actually make drugs, or who should make drugs? Because I think one of the reasons why we have a lot of it, why it is a menace, is because looks like anybody can make these drugs. And maybe the regulatory body is doing a lot of work, and yet they're still not able to catch them. So who can actually make drugs?
Well, it is a pharmacist. It is a pharmacist that is shadowed with the responsibility by the virtue of the training they've undergone to manufacture the drug. But the problem that we have is not who makes it.
Okay.
It is who brings it in.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a problem of distribution.
It's a problem of distribution. You and I know in this country, the past NAFDAC director made an effort to wipe off all these leakages in distribution. But you know, it's still the way it is. So the main problem that we have is that those who go in to import drug, who may even employ a pharmacist, may not be doing the right thing. And of course, in most times, they're not doing the right thing. And that's why multinationals are the trustworthy source of drugs and some local manufacturers that are credible. But you see, by the time we contract production to countries like India, to China, and the person bringing it in, you know, is not in a way a professional. He's just interested in the profit. And that's why the general public needs to be aware of how to identify fake drugs.
Wow. Wow, thank you very much. Obviously, you've highlighted 5 major steps, and I hope that at least you've been able to get at least one of them. You know, you talk about price, you talk about the sending SMS, you talk about the irregularities in the labeling, the packaging, and some others. So thank you so much for this. It's been quite enlightening.
Thank you very much.
Quite enlightening. Thank you very much. Do you want more amazing content from us? All you just have to do is subscribe, and don't forget to click the notifications button so that you can get notified when new videos are up.